Hey everybody, what's up? And welcome to another video. This one is called Stripping with Home Products. Yay! So, what we've got going on here is I'm testing some home products for getting paint off of model parts. So, back in the day, I thought I was clever and would base coat parts while still on the sprues, which is a really dumb thing to do. Don't do that. So, as it makes assembly very difficult, and then your paint gets all messed up, and your glue doesn't adhere, and yeah, don't do that. So, what I've been doing, I've been using pure 99.9% rubbing alcohol, and it works pretty good. Just kind of soak it overnight. And I've actually got some ball bearings in there for shaking things around a little bit. And as you can see, it works pretty well. And I've just spilled rubbing alcohol all over the place. So tip number one, have a stack of paper towels handy. Tip number two, gloves, nitrile, latex, whatever you like. I prefer nitrile. And pro tip, baby powder is your best friend when working with gloves. You just sprinkle some onto your hands, rub it all over, and then the gloves will go on relatively easy. And of course, your hands are going to sweat while you're wearing these things, so putting a little bit of baby powder in there also helps with that. So yes, if you're dealing with some chemicals like rubbing alcohol and whatnot, you're definitely going to want to use gloves. Exciting glove putting on sequence. Okay, so also I have my tools handy. We have the cheapy toothbrush, scrub brush, wire scrub brush. I think came with probably some straws. A sculpting tool, the ball-ended sculpting tool, which will help get paints out of recessed areas without causing any scratches. The dental tool also has a small ball on it, and this end I've actually sharpened to a point. It's a little bit bent, so I'm going to have to straighten that out. I don't mind the dye in my beard. It's drying right now. Recoloring the beard, touching it up. So just using jeweler's pliers. Any pliers will do. These ones are nice and flat, so they're great for straightening out bent thingies. Okay, so there's our tools. Now what we've got here is, this is rubbing alcohol and distilled water. So I wanted to see if a slightly weaker solution will work, because I mean, it's also, there's a lot of parts. You need more liquid to submerge them in. Okay, and then over here we have window cleaner with ammonia, and I've actually added extra ammonia. I buy ammonia to do laundry. It's an old school thing, and it works very well for getting out grease and stains and so on, and sweat stains, because your sweat has ammonia in it. So here's another free laundry tip: use ammonia when you're trying to get out sweat stains, but it reeks. So this is a mixture of ammonia and some window cleaner, which also has ammonia in it, but it's also got a couple other detergents in there as well, right? And then this is just water and dish soap, right? Don't go for the fancy stuff with moisturizers. Just get simple, like a Dawn dish soap grease cutting type. This is great stuff. Okay, so as not to pollute the solutions too much, because you could, like what I do with this stuff is I'll, like with the regular rubbing alcohol, as you can see, it's got lots of paint particles in there, is I would just take this and kind of scrape it with the toothbrush in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that in the water and see if I can preserve the solution. So as you can see, take a little elbow grease, but the paint does come off. Okay, and you can actually soak these in the water as well, which will help. But yeah, you can even rub some off with your fingers, right? So I'm just gonna let that sit in the water for a bit. And so now I'm gonna focus on the ones that were in the diluted alcohol. And so before I dip that in water, I want to see what effect it has just straight up. Oops, parts coming off the sprue. I can see the paint is coming off. So that's good. Now, I didn't doubt that the rubbing alcohol worked. My big doubt is the window cleaner and ammonia. Although I've read that it can work. So yes, this does work. Parts are coming off the sprue. That's all right. Sometimes you need a little bit of a stiffer bristle kind of thing. Okay, so that does work. And yeah. See the original dark green color of this kit, which is Votom's Armored Trooper Votom's Scope Dog kit that I bought 20, maybe 30 years ago. Primed it and like put a base coat on it, and then that's as far as I ever got, which is a sad story that many model makers have in common. So lately I've been doing a lot of kit bashes, and I went to get some to rub these for parts. I found that they didn't want to glue together because of all the paint on them. And I realized these are actually nice little kits, so maybe I'll clean them up and actually just build them straightforward and not use them for kit bashing. Okay, so that does seem to work. So I'm just going to let that soak in the soapy water. Okay, so that's the rubbing alcohol and water solution. Put that aside over here. And now we try the ammonia and window cleaner solution. See if this did anything. Whoa, that's smelly. Okay, another pro tip, open the damn window. Ooh, wear a mask. My knee, just opening the window. It also has lots of nice bubbles on it. And the paint is actually crazed quite a bit. That's a good sign. Well, holy shnikes. I think the ammonia works even better than the rubbing alcohol. You can kind of see where the bubbling on the parts were. See if I can get that to focus. As you can see, it looks like there's speckles, which might be a great technique for doing weathering and rust. Just to put like a base coat of something on and then scrape most of it off until you've got a bit of a texture left behind. Well, I'm impressed with how much more effective that was. Now, the rubbing alcohol was diluted, so that is impressive. Okay, we'll let those soak. Kind of like how you can blow bubbles with it. Oops, parts go flying. Stop them back in the water. Well, I am surprised and impressed at how well that worked. So, yeah, gonna let that soak. Just gonna drop all of these in the soapy water for now. Interesting that the ammonia causes the paint to wrinkle and craze, which does make sense, especially if the paint was acrylic. Now, this is not acrylic. This is an enamel spray, I believe. Acrylic paints would come off a heck of a lot easier in both of these solutions, I'm sure. Rubbing alcohol is great for if you need to repaint a miniature. Just soak it in rubbing alcohol, particularly plastic miniatures. If it's a metal miniature, you can use acetone. Do not use acetone on your plastic miniatures or your plastic model parts, or you will have nothing but goo, which is fine if you're trying to make a goo, which does have useful purposes, by the way. Melting model sprues in either acetone or in like weld bond model cement creates what they call sprue goo, which is great for using as a gap filler and even as a glue. A little bit messy, but once you figured out how to work with it, it's great. Okay, yeah, so this ammonia works really well. Now, I did a little research prior to doing all of this, and a lot of, not necessarily a model post, but other posts, other forums were talking about that, yes, you can actually mix alcohol and ammonia together, and it creates a better paint stripping solution for plastics. Typically, they recommend ammonia for getting paint off of hard things and wood. So if you've got like latex house paint on wood that you want to strip off and you don't have paint stripper, you can just use like a paste of ammonia and like say washing soda or even baking soda. So washing soda is just basically like a baking soda formulation for laundry. You can also use borax and mix in ammonia, I believe. Double check that, research first. You don't want to mix things together that will kill you. Like, for example, ammonia and bleach will create mustard gas. And alcohol and bleach will create chloroform, which is great if you want to kill yourself or knock yourself out. So don't do those things. Okay, I'm just going to fish up the rest of the parts. It's very strong smelling. Okay, so now I'm going to add the alcohol and water to the ammonia solution and hopefully nothing explodes. Although that would have been great content. Just going to mix it up a bit. does cut down on the ammonia smell a little bit, which is interesting. I might need to add some more ammonia to this to make it more potent. But hopefully this new mixture will be really good at stripping the paint. So I'm going to drop this guy in because I haven't even scrubbed him at all. And there isn't any crazing on him. This might have been one from the alcohol. I'm not sure what I mean. So that's the other problem with priming them or painting them on the sprue. There's always a lot of detail if you're not really good at, using the right kind of paints. So I've learned a lot since then. This was, like I say, about 30 years ago I did this. And yeah, I won't be doing that again. So I'm going to plunk that in there. And we'll see how that one does. And I'm going to just keep scrubbing. Sure, a lot of these parts are going to fall off the sprue, and I'm going to have to plunk them back in. But I think the soap and water really neutralizes whatever's going on. There's nothing coming off of this one. A little bit, but not much. I have to use a bit more elbow grease. You don't want to use too stiff of a brush. Like if you used a wire brush, sure, it would work, but it would also scratch the hell out of your model. Now, if you're trying to get that effect, go for it. If you wanted like a really scratched up, beat up looking robot or tank, then yeah, use a wire brush. But if you're trying not to do that, I got a little wire brush here. And let's see what it looks like on the actual sprue. Not that bad, actually. They're really hard to see on the camera. There's some really fine scratch. This is a very fine bristled brush. So, oh, I can't see shit. That's just too damn bright. Seems to sort of like this peeling the paint. It's like almost, oh wow, it's really taking it off the parts better. Yeah, if you're going to use a wire brush, go for something that's like a fine brass one. I wouldn't use a metal like a steel regular one because it'll rust and you'll have to deal with cleaning the rust off of your parts, which again, if you're trying to go for a rusty effect, might be a technique you could experiment with, but would not recommend for normal circumstances. Okay, so I'm going to plunk this guy back in the bath. In fact, I'm going to plunk all of them back in the bath. And put a lid on her and let her cook. And come back to it again and see how that does. So, there we have it. Stripping with home products. Nice little clickbaity title. And now I will struggle to pick up all the teeny pieces that are floating around in the water, which could take some time. So, there we go. I'm just going to stop it here, and thanks for watching. Bye. Did it stop? No, it didn't stop. I clicked the button, but it didn't stop. Let's click it again.